quiet forest floor sets the scene. Everything seems calm, serene, even until a closer look reveals something much more sinister beginning to unfold. Nestled beneath layers of dried leaves and compact earth lies a hidden scorpion burrow. The entrance is small and unassuming, a dark hole that vanishes into the soil. To the untrained eye, it's just another nook in nature's intricate landscape. But today this burrow is about to become a battlefield. From the distance, a line of black figures begins to march. Slowly at first, then more rapidly, they form a column that twists and turns like a living pipeline. These are Leptogenys ants, a species renowned for their speed aggression and remarkable organization. Their long bodies shimmer faintly in the dappled sunlight as they move in formation. They are not just wandering, they are heading somewhere with purpose. The closer they get to the burrow, the more deliberate their movements become. Ants pause, sensing vibrations, sniffing the air, with their antennae communicating silently through pheromones. The mission is clear: infiltrate and destroy the scorpion nest. The ants are not simply acting on instinct. They are operating with what appears to be tactical intent. This is a hunt, and every individual knows their role. Inside the burrow, the vibrations have not gone unnoticed. The ground shifts slightly as something stirs from below. Then, with a sudden flick of its pincers and a rising plume of dust, a large scorpion emerges. Its exoskeleton glistens with moisture from the underground. The scorpion, sensing a threat, raises its claws defensively. Its tail arches overhead like a drawn weapon, ready to strike. For a moment, it seems the scorpion might intimidate the approaching ants. After all, it's massive compared to any single one of them. Its claws can crush, and its sting is lethal. But the ants do not waver. They accelerate. Within seconds, they swarm its legs, abdomen, tail. The scorpion thrashes, knocking off several attackers. But they return more determined. The ants begin their assault from all sides. Some climb the scorpion's legs and cling to its joints, forcing them into awkward angles. Others focus on the tail, working together to immobilize its deadly stinger. Their bites are small but coordinated. Their numbers are overwhelming. The scorpion starts to spin, trying to shake them off. But it's too late. The ants have found the chinks in its armor. This isn't a random frenzy. Leptogenys ants are known to use division of labor during hunts. Some serve as attackers, others as support carriers, and a third wave waits to extract and secure the kill. In this case, the first group is doing its job with brutal efficiency. The scorpion, once a feared predator, is now reduced to a thrashing body covered in ants. It takes less than a minute before the scorpion's movements slow. Its stinger droops, then falls limp. Its legs stop kicking. The ants don't pause to celebrate. They simply begin the next phase: extraction. More ants arrive, some even digging around the body to make the removal easier. Together, dozens of them work to pull the lifeless form toward the surface. Above ground, the scene looks almost unbelievable. A creature that once ruled the burrow is now being dragged across the dirt by an army of ants no bigger than rice grains. Their coordination is mesmerizing. Like trained soldiers, they maneuver in unison, making constant micro-adjustments as they navigate roots and stones. The mission isn't just to kill, it's to remove all threats and take everything of value. And yet, this is only the beginning. Just as the last segment of the scorpion's body vanishes into the ant column, something even more chilling occurs. From off-screen, a human hand appears holding a clear plastic cup. Inside, hundreds more Leptogenys ants. The hand tips the cup, slowly releasing a torrent of shiny black bodies directly into the scorpion's burrow. It's an invasion amplified. Reinforcements flood the tunnels, their numbers now in the thousands. The tunnel darkens with the density of their bodies. What was a small-scale battle has just escalated into a full-blown war. The moment the surge of additional ants hits the scorpion tunnel, the dynamic changes completely. If the initial attack had seemed tactical and deliberate, this next wave is outright apocalyptic. The sheer volume of ants pouring into the underground system is enough to resemble a liquid flowing through the narrow earthen corridors with impossible speed. Each passage and chamber becomes filled with writhing black movement. Any notion of resistance the scorpions might have had is now drowned under the flood of insect invaders. Inside, the battle is no longer one-on-one. It's hundreds against a few. The surviving scorpions scramble in confusion. Dust fills the air as they attempt to retreat deeper into the burrow, but there is no sanctuary. The ants are everywhere. They surge from above, from behind, and from side tunnels that the scorpions themselves once dug as escape routes. Now those same exits betray them, offering ants access to their last remaining hiding spots. A young scorpion is the first to be overwhelmed. Trapped in a narrowing corridor, it attempts to wedge itself against the walls, hoping its armored shell might provide protection. But the ants adapt quickly. They divide into waves, some attacking from the front to draw its attention, others pouring in from behind to latch onto the vulnerable joints beneath the exoskeleton. The scorpion jerks violently, tail thrashing, but the ants hold fast. Within moments, its movements become sluggish. Its resistance fades. Elsewhere in the nest, two adult scorpions are trying to defend a rear chamber, their claws raised and tails pointed like twin sentinels. The ants approach not in a straight rush, but in arcs, as if calculating the trajectory of a safe attack. They move with uncanny coordination surrounding the defenders before launching a synchronized strike. One ant charges and is batted away. Another meets the tip of a stinger. But for each ant lost, 20 more surge forward. Soon the scorpions are buried beneath an avalanche of mandibles and legs. Above ground, the chaos is equally intense. The mouth of the burrow has turned into a conveyor belt of death. The ants carry bodies, some scorpions intact, others in pieces, out of the tunnel and into the open forest floor. They deposit them in neatly organized piles, only to return underground seconds later. There's no celebration, no sign of hesitation. The ants are in a kind of collective trance programmed to complete the mission. In the midst of this relentless warfare, a fascinating behavior begins to emerge. Ants assigned to logistics begin cleaning the tunnel's entrance, widening it slightly and removing loose debris. Others start organizing the fallen scorpions by size. It seems unbelievable, but this kind of structured post-battle behavior is consistent with observed Leptogenys colony patterns. Not only do they hunt and kill efficiently, they also manage the aftermath like military engineers. Another scorpion is dragged out, this one twice the size of the last. It's battered, covered in dust, and partially dismembered. Its tail twitches slightly, a sign that it was likely taken alive and subdued during extraction. The ants treat it the same as any other, a resource to be claimed, processed, and utilized. To them, size means more food, not more threat. What's even more stunning is how silent the entire process is. There's no sound but the rustle of leaves and the occasional clack of insect limbs against bark and dirt. This silence enhances the surreal quality of what's happening. A highly organized army is conducting a strategic purge beneath the surface of the forest, and the world above barely notices. At around the 4-minute mark, the ants begin dragging out the first large scorpion from earlier. Its now lifeless body is hauled toward a shaded area under a tree root. The ants swarm its limbs, adjusting and coordinating movement as if using signals invisible to the human eye. No chaos, no bumping into each other. Everything functions with the precision of a synchronized machine. The first phase of the war is complete. The nest has been breached. Defenders have fallen. Casualties have been extracted. But the ants are not done yet. They know that beneath the surface, more scorpions may remain. Eggs, juveniles, possibly even a queen. And so without pause, they prepare to go deeper. What follows next is not a battle, it is a siege. Just when it seems the battle has reached its peak, here the ground beneath the entrance quivers again. Unlike before, this disturbance is slower, more deliberate. There's a sense of weight, of purpose. Dust filters through cracks in the surface as something massive begins to stir. Deep inside the nest, a presence makes itself known. The ants sense it too. Their movements change not with hesitation, but with a recalibration of strategy. Something different is coming. Then it appears. From the shadows of the burrow, a colossal figure pushes upward. A scorpion, unlike the others, emerges easily, twice the size of her fallen kin. Her body is darker, glossier, with thick armor that reflects even the weakest light. This is no ordinary defender. This is a titan, a matriarch, a last line of defense. Her claws are enormous, serrated at the edges like jagged weapons forged by nature itself. Her tail arches high, poised to strike with deadly accuracy. She climbs into the open air, unbothered by the chaos around her. Her legs, thick and steady, press into the soil like pistons. The ants immediately shift their formation. Instead of rushing, they now surround her at a wider distance, testing her reaction, looking for weaknesses. The battlefield pauses for a breath, and then it explodes. With the speed of a whip, the scorpion lashes out. One claw grabs a clump of ants and crushes them in an instant. Her stinger darts forward and impales another. She spins tail whipping in a wide arc that sends dozens of ants flying. For a brief moment, the tide appears to shift. This scorpion is a true warrior. Every move is precise, powerful, and efficient, but the ants do not retreat. They regroup. Working in perfect unison, they begin to climb not on her directly at first, but on each other, creating living ladders. They form three fronts, one targeting the legs to reduce mobility, one attacking the tail to neutralize the stinger, and the last swarming the head and thorax. Every move is calculated, every ant plays a role. The scorpion tries to shake them off, but the ants have learned from the previous fights. They latch onto her joints, wedge themselves under her plates, and dig into the softer membranes between armored segments. Her strikes become more frantic, less accurate. Her tail, once her deadliest weapon, now trembles under the weight of attackers. Still she fights. For nearly 3 minutes, the scorpion spins and thrashes in a spectacle of primal fury. Dust clouds rise around her. Her claws snap and crush. Her tail lands blow after blow. She steps on the ants, flings them aside, drags herself in circles, trying to reach the burrow again. But the ants adapt. They sacrifice themselves strategically. For every ant she kills, 20 more move in behind her. At one point, she manages to crawl a few feet back toward the burrow entrance. Her legs, now bloodied and scraped, push through the dirt with fading strength, but the ants surround her again. They block her path, climb over her face, blind her. One group wedges under her carapace and begins pulling in the opposite direction. Her strength begins to wane. She attempts a final sting, but her tail is being pulled downward by a cluster of ants that have latched onto the base. The stinger misses its mark and slams into the earth with a dull thud. The ants seize the moment. They swarm. Within seconds, the scorpion is nearly unrecognizable beneath the mass of bodies. Her once polished exoskeleton now writhes with black movement. Her claws no longer rise. Her legs twitch without rhythm. Her tail, still raised weakly, slowly lowers as the weight of her attackers overwhelms her. One last jerk of resistance, and then nothing. Silence. The battlefield goes still for a moment as the ants consolidate their victory. They begin their next task without delay. Just as with the others, the extraction begins. But this time, the body is immense. It takes several minutes just to position the groups around her limbs. They communicate constantly, ants from different parts of the colony, now working in harmony to lift and transport this monstrous prize. Slowly, inch by inch, the scorpion's body is dragged toward the burrow. The entrance, already widened by earlier reinforcements, groans under the effort. Ants begin clearing the path, digging quickly to allow space for the body to pass. Others stabilize the weight, balancing it over uneven terrain. Above ground, it looks impossible. But for the Leptogenys ants, this is routine. This is what they were built for. As the scorpion's tail disappears into the burrow, the forest floor looks like it's being swallowed alive. What once seemed like a peaceful woodland clearing and now resembles the aftermath of a siege. Broken earth, scattered limbs, and a visible trail of destruction mark the ant's path. And yet, there is no pause, no rest. The ants return to the nest immediately. The mission continues. What remains below, however, is more than just tunnels and chambers. There are still more scorpions, perhaps smaller, perhaps weaker, but the ants do not discriminate. Every threat must be eliminated. Every resource must be secured. The Titan is gone. But the colony marches on, and deep beneath the soil, the final stage of the siege begins. The dust has barely settled from the fall of the Titan when the ants refocus their purpose. There's no pause for recovery or regrouping. Leptogenys ants operate like a machine, a continuous force of nature fueled by instinct and precision. With their largest threat removed, they now return to the heart of the nest, deeper into the dark, narrow tunnels, where the last remnants of resistance may still lie. Beneath the forest floor, the scorpion burrow is an elaborate maze. Decades of digging and territorial fortification have shaped a labyrinth that houses not just adult scorpions, but eggs, juveniles, and potentially even a brood queen if such a role exists among them. This final section is where the vulnerable reside, and now it is under siege. The ants don't hesitate. They flood in. Their bodies glide over one another in perfect synchronization. forming rivers of movement that cascade down vertical tunnels and spread across the chamber floors. The deeper they go, the more the air thickens, not just with soil and decay, but with pheromones, hormones, the lingering fear of what's to come. The scorpions sense it. Even the smallest ones twitch with unease. In one chamber, a cluster of juvenile scorpions cling to the sides of a dirt wall. Barely a fraction of their full-grown size, they're ill-equipped to fight. The ants swarm them without mercy. Their bites puncture the soft, still-developing exoskeletons. The young scorpions thrash legs, kicking wildly tails, attempting to strike. But they are outmatched. Within seconds, their limbs go limp. The ants work swiftly, removing the juveniles from the chamber and dragging their small bodies through the tunnels, passing them off to carrier ants who await at the intersections. The operation functions like a conveyor belt, where the front line secures the kill and logistics handle the extraction. This behavior, often mistaken for chaos, is actually structured with near military efficiency. In the next chamber, something more formidable awaits. A large adult scorpion, heavily scarred, invisibly aged, stands guard near what appears to be a clutch of eggs. Her legs are planted firmly in the soil, her body coiled in a defensive posture. And nestled against her back, babies, newly hatched, white and soft, clinging tightly to the only protection they have known. It's a heartbreaking image. But the ants are not swayed by sentiment. Nature is never emotional, only efficient. They approach slowly at first, scouting the chamber structure. Then, without warning, they attack. Waves of ants split into two groups. One rushes the scorpion, while the other circles to isolate the egg cluster. The mother scorpion unleashes a fury of strikes. Her tail lands several hits, piercing the ground and squashing attackers. Her claws crush any ant that dares to climb too high. For a moment, it appears she may hold them off. But the ants adapt. They switch tactics, now coordinating a triple assault: legs, underside, tail, base. This time, they focus less on bringing her down quickly and more on keeping her distracted, while another group infiltrates the egg clutch. Within seconds, several ants are crawling over the eggs. Some begin carrying them, others begin feeding. The scorpion mother senses the betrayal too late. She spins, trying to reach her young, but the ants seize their moment. Dozens pile onto her back, attacking both her and the helpless babies clinging to her. She thrashes wildly. The chamber shakes with her movements. But there are too many ants, and they are too ventis. She succumbs in stages. First, her legs collapse. Then her tail falls flat against the floor. Finally, her entire body trembles before going still. Her babies are pulled from her back one by one and disappear into the crowd. Above ground, the ants begin re-emerging. But now it's not just adults they carry, it's the future of the scorpion nest. Eggs, hatchlings, half-developed embryos, all are transported up through the tunnels. The surface, once a battleground, now transforms into a processing zone. Some ants build temporary mounds to store the harvest, while others organize their next moves. No time is wasted. This is more than a hunt. It's a complete annihilation. By the 12-minute mark, the scorpion nest has been entirely overrun. Every tunnel explored, every chamber emptied, every threat neutralized. The once thriving colony of apex burrow predators has been reduced to a memory, its remains scattered across the forest floor, carried off into the unknown depths of the ant world. And still the Leptogenys ants march. Their mission was never about revenge or cruelty or domination. It was survival. It was order. A perfectly executed campaign, driven not by hatred but by code. An unspoken shared intelligence that drives the colony forward without pause, without question. As the last scorpion egg disappears beneath the soil, the forest grows quiet again. Birds sing in the trees, the wind rustles the leaves, but below, deep within the earth, a lesson has been carved in blood and silence. In the world of insects, size means nothing. Unity is everything. The war is over. Where once stood a powerful ancient scorpion colony, there is now only silence. The soil has swallowed the evidence, but the memory remains captured forever in the movements of the ants, who now disappear back into the earth like shadows. For us, watching from above, it's more than just nature footage. It's a reminder of how power doesn't always lie in sham, venom, or brute force. Sometimes the greatest strength is in unity, in strategy, in knowing your role and playing it without ego. The Leptogenys ants didn't win because they were the biggest, they won because they were one. And that lesson, it extends beyond the world of insects. Maybe it speaks to something deeper about us, about how we function in society, in communities and teams. Maybe nature's battles aren't just entertainment, they're reflection, they're revelation, and sometimes they're warning. So the next time you see a single ant on the sidewalk, remember what you've just seen. You're not looking at a bug, you're looking at the smallest unit of a system that can dismantle giants. If you've made it this far, thank you. You're part of a growing community that sees the world with curiosity, awe, and a respect for even the smallest creatures. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. It helps us keep bringing you wild, real stories from the hidden corners of the natural world. Leave a comment below. What did you think of this battle? Were you surprised, shocked, rooting for the scorpions? And here's the big question. What creature should the Leptogenys ants face next? Should we document them against a centipede, a tarantula, or something even more terrifying? Drop your thoughts below. Like the video. Share it with a friend who underestimates ants. And remember, out here in the wild, nothing is what it seems. See you in the next one.